Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today we're playing with a gorgeous collection from our friends at Stamperia called Roseland. Now this collection features coordinating 8x8 pattern papers, rub-ons, and chipboard die-cut embellishments. So I'm going to move aside these two for right now, and we can start with our paper pack, which contains 10 sheets of double-sided papers. And you can see here this color palette is a really pretty soft pink and white. And as we flip through, you'll see the butterflies, the vintage faux texture, and of course the floral theme. Lots of really nice collage imagery on here. Lots of nice cutout options for you as well. So you've got embellishments to use for the front of your card or for the inside. And everything is, of course, perfectly coordinated to go together very, very easily. You have lots of cutout images in here, which I really appreciate and think it just makes it so much easier to create a finishing effect. On the inside back of the paper pack, you've got a lot of smaller cutouts, as well as on the inside front of the paper pack too. So there's a lot to work with in here. Now to go along, you also have a set of rub-ons. Now you've got more than 20 images, again perfect for the card front or the inside. You do have instructions on how to apply them, but I'll also demonstrate that for you today. And then finally you have this pack of chipboard die cuts. Again, perfectly coordinating. There are 41 pieces in the pack, so I thought this might make it a little bit easier for us to see them. You've got a nice variety of sizes and shapes. You've got some sentiments. You've also got some nice smaller images that you can use to create smaller collages. And here are the rest of the images on here as well. So quite a lot to work with in this collection. And again, everything is totally color coordinated to make it really easy. This collection is so pretty for winter card making, and there are so many creative possibilities, and I just can't wait to share them with you. I'm so glad you're here today, so come play with us. Let's start with this easy design, which uses the pattern papers as well as the die cuts, plus a versatile lace die. So I first covered my card front with pink solid cardstock from the Strawberry Delight cardstock pack, and then added this piece of textured pattern paper on top. I gave the edges a little bit of grayish ink just to put in a bit of soft shadow along the sides. This is one of my favorite ink pads for edging. And then I've got this lace piece here. Now this is the Chantilly lace die, which I used with the gold glitter cardstock. And I snipped it in half so that I could put a portion on either side of this focal strip. So let me show you the supplies that I'm working with. So first, here is the glitter cardstock. And I love this because it gives some shine and texture to your projects, but it does not shed glitter, which is really nice for you, and it's also nice for the card recipient. You won't end up with glittery bits on your hands. So this is what I'm doing my die cutting from. Now the Chantilly lace die looks like this, and you can see it's got lots of detail on it. What I really suggest when you're working with intricate dies is the quick release die paper, and this comes on a roll. You just need to pull off a little bit of it and then create a sandwich with your cardstock or your paper that you're doing your die cutting with. Run that through your die cutting machine, and that quick release paper will just make the design come out, make the paper, the cardstock come out much more cleanly and easily. So once you run that through your die cutting machine, you will have a beautiful piece that looks like this. And I've just done this from plain white cardstock. And you can see though how it's just slightly smaller than what I've got on here. So I just grabbed a pair of scissors and trimmed down the center so that I could have a little bit more of that beautiful lace corner edging showing on either side of this strip. Now the paper strip that I have going on here is actually this piece of paper from the collection, and it's this section here. So I've just trimmed that down, mounted it up onto some plain pink cardstock, And then I've added my chipboard embellishments on here. And I popped these up with some foam tape so there's a little bit of dimension. Then I've also got the words from the Grateful, Thankful, Blessed Dazzle set. And these little hearts that you see here are also from that Dazzle set. Then for my card inside, let's take a look. I've got some more plain cardstock. I have another strip of pattern paper, again matted onto some solid pink cardstock. And I've got a chipboard piece. This is embellished with a little heart from that Dazzle set and another word Dazzle. So this is how easily these elements can come together. Now I have another card project that I want to show you. This one also features these beautiful pattern papers and the die cut, so you can see how you can group some of these floral elements together along with that sweet little bird die cut, as well as some of the rub-ons. So this section right here for my focal, I have one of the cutouts from the paper pack, and it's this one right here. It's got some nice open area here in the center, and I chose to fill that using one of the floral rub-ons. So you can see again on that rub-on sheet, you've got lots of elements, and I chose this one right here. And I thought that would just fill this area really nicely. I've also got a little butterfly rub-on going on here. Now, to do the rub-ons, it's really simple. Again, there are instructions on the packaging, but let's take a look. So I've got a snippet of my patterned paper, and I've also got one of the rub-ons that I've cut out. Now, you'll notice on your rub-on pack that you've got the rub-ons on one sheet, and there's a liner sheet underneath here. When you cut out the piece that you want to transfer, keep those two pieces together until you make sure you know exactly where you want it to go. You don't want to handle the printed side of this too much because it can come off on your hands. So you want to figure out where you want your design to go. Let's see, I'll turn this around like so, and we'll just position it right here. Smooth it down. Now there is a bit of stick on here, so it's not going to go sliding around, which is really nice. I use a bone folder and then just gently but firmly burnish this so that you can transfer that design in place. And you don't need to put a whole lot of muscle behind it. You really want to make sure that you're getting all of the edges of that design really firmly burnished on there. And when I'm using my bone folder, I'm going along with this edge here. I'm not going stabbing into it with the tip of the bone folder. So it gives you some nice even burnishing coverage there. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this back, and I'm not yanking off the whole piece. I'm going to walk it around just to make sure that I've transferred all of that design. Because if I realize that I didn't get all of it, I can place it back down and continue to burnish it until it's all transferred over. But it looks like I did it. So you can see here how beautiful that is. It just really adds another nice touch of dimension to your project, and it is easy to do. So that's what I've done with this floral element here, as well as the little butterfly there. So then for this cutout element, again, I inked the edges using my ink pad and then popped this up with some foam tape. Then I've also got the bird and the flowers. These are the die cut pieces, as is this memories piece down here. And then I just added a little jute bow. This pattern paper, this border, this is printed onto the pattern paper itself, so I can easily incorporate that into my card. The green that you see on here is also from the Strawberry Delight cardstock pack. Then for the inside, I've kept it really simple, just some more of those floral rub-ons and a script Dazzle sentiment, and then another little heart design on here. Here's another example of a simple card design that really lets the pattern papers and die cut elements shine. So this is a cutaway style of card, and I've just used my paper trimmer to cut away about 1 inch from the front panel of the card base. And that gives me enough space for some die cut elements like this bench, as well as a large floral embellishment. I can also create a fun scalloped edge, and then I still have plenty of room on the inside for decorating for my sentiment, as well as the chance to incorporate some smaller images like this little bird rub-on so it can be seen from the front and the inside of the card. Now on the card front, I've got this die cut flower image, quite large here. Now I've got this big piece here as well as a smaller element popped up with some foam tape, plus a message from the Grateful, Thankful, Blessed Dazzles collection. And I've also wrapped just the front panel of the card with some jute twine, and that just gives a little bit of extra dimension on here. Got a butterfly chipboard piece that's popped up again with some foam tape. So I've got some nice texture and dimension going on here. Now I also have this scalloped edge. This is a really easy technique to incorporate into your card projects, whether or not you're doing a cutaway style of card. So again, I'm going to show you the inside here. You can see that it's been made using some double-sided cardstock, so light pink and then a darker shade here. And I'm also using the 12 rectangles and scalloped cutting dies from Hot Off the Press. So this is one of the largest of the scalloped dies. This is measuring 6 1/4 inches tall. So what I've done is simply positioned the edge of this onto a piece of my cardstock. And I usually cut a strip that's a couple of inches wide. Position this down, tape it down, run it through your die cutting machine, and then you will have a piece that looks like this. And then what you can do is take your cutaway card. So here you can see I've got just an inch cut off from the front of my card base, and then simply glue this to the inside of that card front panel. So position this down, kind of depends on how much of that scalloped edge you want to show. I've got it about like so. Glue that down, and then when you open this up, if you want to hide the seam behind there, just take another piece of cardstock or pattern paper and position that down there. Glue it down and then trim off any excess. So again, let's take a look at the front of the card, and you can see how this all comes together. So there's the scallop showing. And then on the inside, you can see I've got that covered up with a piece of patterned paper. And then for the rest of the inside of my card, I've got some more of this gorgeous kind of faux texture design here. I've got the sending smiles sentiment here, and once again that little bird rub-on that can show on the inside as well as when you're looking at the card being closed. Okay, I've got one more card example to share with you, so I'm going to grab a few ink pads and some chipboard and we can take a look. Our final card project has a bit of a bolder color palette than we've seen with the other examples. I love these soft pink tones, and I wanted to see how they would look with something brighter. So I used some of the Hunky Dory Prism inks with the Pretty Little Prince chipboard set. And that's what's giving me this bright and bold focal here with these chipboard roses and then these beautiful foliage accents. And inking is such a great way to add instant color to plain chipboard pieces. So let's take a look here. I'll show you the chipboard set that I'm working with. So it's the Pretty Little Prince, and you can see beautiful floral elements on here and some leaves. Now these come as a neutral sort of bone color on both sides, which means that you can ink them really easily. So I'm using the lily pad and the letterbox red for my red and green elements. And this is a super simple technique to do. Just grab a pair of scissors and cut out the elements that you want to work with, and then get ready to ink. So I've already snipped out two of these so that you can see I've got one of the flowers and then one of the foliage pieces here. Now you can do this on a piece of scrap paper, as I'm going to do, or on your craft mat. All you need to do is simply hold down one section of this, maybe with your finger or with an X-Acto knife. Now, because the ink pad has a nice raised spongy ink pad, all you need to do is just press this down. So I'm just going to gently but firmly press this color down. You can add as much or as little as you want. And then I'll come back and do the same with the letterbox red and with the flower image. Okay, I'm going to hold down this area and then just pressing that ink pad on there. And the color will transfer nicely. So then there we go. Now, because these are dye-based inks, you do want to give them just a minute or two and let that ink dry before you remove them from the rest of this chipboard piece. So let me show you here. I've got one that is dry and ready to kind of separate from here. So there you go. You've got a beautiful leaf element here, again with that letterbox red, and then here is one of the flowers. Now with my card project, you can see here that I've got my flowers backed with a little bit of contrasting cardstock. So all I do for that is simply trim down a piece of the cardstock, and I like to use sticky specs for this to adhere the flower element down, and then just use a pair of detail scissors to go around the outside edge. And that means that I can create even more contrast and dimension with those floral elements. So I have a light pink cardstock and a darker shade behind this one. Everything is just glued down. This flower is popped up with a bit of foam tape. So again, I've got a little bit more dimension. Then I have the For You cutout from the paper pack. This is also popped up on foam tape so that it's not kind of sagging in here. So I've got a couple of layers on this side. My card focal element here is one of the cutouts from the paper pack mounted onto brown cardstock, which is also what I've used to cover the front of my card. Again, just to create a little bit of dimension and some contrast to these soft pale shades. So it gives you a completely different look with this color palette, and one that I think is a really nice option to have. Now for the card inside, I've got some more pattern paper. I've got a tag cutout, the With Love sentiment. This is another cutout as well, plus some more of those inked chipboard pieces. And this is our final card project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Stamperia for these gorgeous papers and embellishments. They were a lot of fun to work with. So many creative possibilities. And a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really so glad you're here, and we're happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.